Have you ever wondered what would happen if you didn't wash your hair for a year? A peculiar thought, isn't it? You might be imagining some wild scenarios right now: overgrown oily locks, an army of dandruff flakes, or maybe, just maybe, a newfound natural radiance. It's an intriguing concept, this idea of letting nature take its course for 365 days, uninterrupted. What would your hair look like? How would it feel? Well, you're about to find out. To understand what happens, we need to dig into the science of hair and scalp first. Each strand of our hair is made up of two main parts: the follicle, which is embedded in your skin, and the shaft, the part we see and style. The hair shaft itself is made up of a hard protein called keratin and is divided into three layers: the medulla at the center, the cortex in the middle, and the cuticle on the outside. The cuticle, a protective layer, is like a series of tiny, overlapping scales that keep the inner layers safe from damage. Now let's talk about the sebaceous glands. These small oil-producing factories are located next to each hair follicle under your skin. They produce sebum, a waxy, oily substance that waterproofs and lubricates your hair and skin. This natural oil helps to keep your hair healthy, shiny, and resilient. But sebum does more than just make your hair look good. It also plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance of your scalp environment. It prevents your hair and scalp from drying out, protects against the harmful effects of the sun, and even has antimicrobial properties that help keep your scalp clean and healthy. So that's the normal functioning of your hair and scalp. But what happens when you stop washing it? Imagine, from today, you stop washing your hair. What happens? First off, your hair doesn't turn into a wild, untamed beast overnight. It's quite the contrary. In the initial days, the changes are subtle, almost imperceptible. Your scalp continues to produce sebum, the natural oil that keeps your hair moisturized and shiny. But without regular washing, this oil isn't distributed evenly through your hair. It begins to accumulate on your scalp, creating a layer that traps dust, sweat, and other environmental pollutants. Here's where things start to get interesting. As the days roll into weeks, these trapped particles begin to mingle with the sebum. The result? A cocktail of oils and dust that sticks to your scalp like glue. You may start to notice your hair feeling heavier as each strand gets coated with this oily concoction. Now let's talk about sweat. We often overlook the fact that our scalp, like the rest of our skin, has sweat glands. When you exercise or even just go about your daily activities, your scalp perspires. Without regular washing, this sweat doesn't evaporate as quickly. It mixes with the sebum and dust, adding to the sticky mess on your scalp. This is when you might start to experience discomfort. The buildup of oil, sweat, and dust can cause your scalp to itch. You might find yourself scratching your head more often than usual, which can lead to further irritation or even small sores. As the weeks turn into a month, you might notice your hair looking greasier than ever before. Each strand appears to be weighed down, no longer bouncy and light as it used to be. The natural shine of your hair might be replaced by a dull, oily sheen. And if you thought this was the end of the journey, think again. After a month or so, your hair might look greasy and heavy, but that's just the beginning. As the year progresses, things get a lot more interesting. The first change you might notice is the appearance of dandruff. Now, we all have a small amount of oil on our scalps. It's natural and necessary for healthy hair. But when you stop washing your hair, this oil builds up and combines with dead skin cells. The result? A snowfall of dandruff that can be both embarrassing and uncomfortable. But wait, it gets worse. This buildup of oil and dead skin cells creates the perfect environment for unwanted guests. We're talking about fungal and bacterial infections. You see, these microorganisms love warm, moist environments, so your unwashed scalp becomes their perfect home. Depending on the type of fungus or bacteria, you might start to notice unpleasant odors, itching, and even sores or abscesses on your scalp. Now let's talk about your hair itself. Each strand of hair grows out of a tiny hole in your skin called a hair follicle. But when you stop washing your hair, these follicles can get clogged up with all that oil and dead skin. This means that new hairs can't grow, and the ones that are already there can't get the nutrients they need. The result? Your hair might start to thin out, and in extreme cases, you could even experience hair loss. And let's not forget about the aesthetics. Over time, your hair will start to look dull and lifeless. It might become matted or clumped together, and it can even change color due to the buildup of oil and dirt. You might start to notice that your hair has a greasy, heavy feel to it, and it may even start to smell. By the end of the year, your hair could be unrecognizable. thinning, dull, possibly even falling out. Not exactly the hair goals most of us are aiming for. So, the next time you consider skipping your hair wash, remember what could happen if you took that to the extreme. So after a year of not washing, your hair would probably be in pretty bad shape. But let's recap why. The science of hair is complex. Each strand is a delicate balance of oils, proteins, and minerals. By not washing for a year, that balance is disrupted, leading to a host of problems. Firstly, you'd have to deal with the buildup of sebum, your scalp's natural oil, which can cause blockages and lead to issues like dandruff and scalp acne. Secondly, without regular washing, dirt and environmental pollutants would accumulate, damaging the hair shaft and potentially leading to breakage. But perhaps the most important reason to keep washing your hair is to maintain scalp health. Your scalp is the foundation of your hair. Without regular cleansing, your scalp's health can deteriorate, causing hair problems from the root. So, while it might be an interesting experiment, we strongly recommend against going a year without washing your hair.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. That's all for Nifty Narration.